right. Yeah, thanks for coming tonight. Just a little bit about myself. I'm Scott Christie. I've been with the credit union for about 7 years now. I work with kind of the back room part of the credit cards. A lot of the questions that come in can be answered by the regular staff, but some more detailed ones kind of get funneled through to me to ask about, why did my credit card not work, or what's this transaction came through. I've got access to look in and kind of look at the details on those. How many of you have credit cards or debit cards? It's pretty uncommon not to find someone that doesn't have cards anymore. Kind of with credit cards, the advance in technology has really made a big change in kind of the way we spend our money. Kind of along with the changes for good and bad, there's always someone that tries to take advantage of that. So kind of the bad goes along with the good. Tonight we're going to talk about what the credit union has to offer for credit cards for members that are looking for a card. Advantages of having a credit card with a credit union. And then we're going to talk some about credit card fraud and what we're doing to prevent that, and what your responsibility is to do to keep track of your card to monitor for fraud. Security, it kind of goes along with what your responsibility is, and then answer any questions. And during the presentation, just go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question while we're going through. First of all, next screen, we'll talk a little bit about history of credit cards with the credit union. Back before the merger in 2000 with the VA Credit Union and Sioux Empire Credit Union, the VA Credit Union had MasterCards that they offered their membership. And Sioux Empire Credit Union had Visa. And then with the joint organization then in 2000, they decided to go ahead and keep both cards to offer to the membership. And it kind of comes down to a choice like Ford versus Chevy, whatever your preference is of one or the other. Visa is probably a little bit more common simply because they were the first ones. They've probably been a little bit more active and successful in a lot of their marketing over the years. Visa started back in 1958 by Bank of America out in California, and then MasterCard was started in 1966 by a cooperative of banks, kind of a response to Bank of America's card and kind of a way to compete with them.
How do they stack up with like American Express?
They both have more market share than American Express does. American Express started more as a charge card, meaning you would make purchases and you had to pay it off by the end of the month. Visa and MasterCard are more of a credit card, meaning you can make purchases and then not have to pay the balances off in full each month and carry that balance if you chose to. We offer both, again, Visa and MasterCard. And Visa Classic and MasterCard, we have kind of the basic card or the classic card. Then we also offer Visa Platinum, and that's more of a premium card. And then the last one we offer is a secured card. And that one you have the choice of Visa or MasterCard that you can use as a secured card. Visa Platinum, again, that's a no-fee rewards card. Go ahead. Stick again, it's a no-fee rewards card. The name of the program that we use with that is called Scorecard Rewards. And again, it's a no-fee card. A lot of banks out there that have cards that are rewards card have fees along with those, $30, $50, $80, $100. So we've got a no-fee option for that. And again, you earn 1 point for every dollar that you spend. And those accrue for 24 months. They expire after the second year, so any points that you earn in 2012 would expire December of 2014. And the scorecard program is administered through our processor that we use. And so there's a scorecard, a website, scorecardrewards.com, that members with Platinum cards would log into just to view the different things that are available. There's both merchandise, things that you can choose from. There's also travel things that you can pick from. There's rental cars, hotels, airline tickets, cruises, all kinds of different stuff that you can choose. A few years ago, I used to, at one point, went on there, and for those with $400,000 or $500,000 points, you could go in and exchange it for a jet fighter flight, a ride, or a race car ride. But
Has anybody ever redeemed any points on any? What'd you buy?
We buy iTunes gift cards all the time, and we buy, there's a lot of kitchen stuff on there. So we got like a fry pan. It's actually really nice.
nice.
Gifts for people.
How fast do those points tend to pick up for you before you can buy something that's worth buying?
Well, the iTunes gift cards are only 3,000 points, so if you're just kind of using your card for kind of normal everyday stuff, it actually accumulates really quickly, which is kind of scary, but yeah, it adds up pretty quick.
I've never had scorecards, so it's kind of interesting.
Kind of depends on
No.
It is available for our 3- and 4-star borrowers, which are those members that have a 680 or higher credit score. So that's what it does take to qualify for that. It also comes with a $5,000 minimum line amount. So again, as a reward for having a higher credit score, you get the benefit of a higher credit limit. The next option we have is secured credit cards, and those are an option for those people just starting out with credit or trying to repair it. Again, it's a no-fee credit card. There's a lot of places out there, banks, that have cards that have annual fees, application fees, a lot of things that go along with it to make it not a very attractive card. I mean, we have an option for free for those people. Get no application fees or setup fees, transaction fees, annual fees. Again, it's a good option for people to establish their credit. You know, if they're just getting out of school, haven't got one of those gazillion credit card offers in the mail, and they want to go ahead and try to build their credit, it's a good option for those people to do so. Or to repair your credit. If you did something not really in your own best interest and to kind of goof something up, either your fault or not, it's a good way to get in to try to start building your credit back up. The way it works is the secured part, you have 125% for every $100 that you want to have for a line amount put aside in your share account with the credit union. So if you want a $100 line account, it'd be $125, and then any increments going up from there. Because it is secured, you do get the benefit of the lowest interest rate that we have available, the 4-star rate of 6.25%. You know, if you're just starting out, you know, the best cost savings way of it, of course, would be to pay your balance in full each month just to save on finance charges. But if you do need or want to carry a balance, you do have that low interest rate on there.
So I'm sorry. So the lowest interest rate on one of the credit cards is 6.25,
Correct.
and then how far up do they go?
11.25.
11.25. Okay.
And one more in there. It does look the same as any other card. We've had people ask me before, gosh, you know, what's the merchant going to say if they know it's a secured card? There isn't any outward difference the way it looks. It's just a regular card. The only change is in-house, the way we treat it, the way it's secured. So that's the only thing that goes with that. After a period of time, we do allow people with a secured card to reapply, if you will, to see if they would qualify at some point for an unsecured card. That way it can free up those savings for them. Next is interest rates. And it is a variable rate structure, and it's tied to the prime rate. Currently, again, the rates are 6.25 to 11.25, and they do change quarterly if the prime rate does change. If it does change, if and when it does change, it changes on the first calendar day of each quarter. Rates will never be greater than 18%. And again, currently 6.25 to 11.25. And it is based on your credit score. So that's where, if you've had a card for several years and you're not at the lowest rate that we have, you know, there's a chance that your credit score has increased during the time. So we welcome those members to stop in or call us. We can do an application to review the rate and see if we can get that lower. I challenge anybody to find a bank that's willing to do that, or outwardly says, hey, we can maybe change your rate and get it lower for you.
Where does the prime rate come from?
It's a rate that, bear with me if I don't explain it right, that banks charge each other, and we follow as it's published in the Wall Street Journal. So that's what we go off of for that. And again, we don't arbitrarily raise rates. A couple years ago, a lot of the banks were increasing people's rates. We had a lot of people come to us and ask us about our cards, and we explained, it's based strictly on your credit score. It's never going to change. We're not going to inflate it for any reason. Some people even saw their credit limits being lowered. Well, if they were operating at their credit limit, all of a sudden they were over the limit and they were getting over limit fees from their banks. Some cases we even saw some people getting their rates doubled. So it was kind of nice to talk with those members that had questions about credit cards, just to show them what we did have to offer there. For statements, the statements do go on a calendar basis. It matches up with your regular statement, with your checking and savings account. And if you get a paper statement in the mail, it comes in the same envelope. If you get e-statements, then you go to the same location on online banking. It's Me247. Click on the tab. You've got a choice there to choose a regular statement or to choose the credit card statement. Minimum payment is 3% of your statement balance. It does have a $25 minimum. If you do carry a balance, there is a payment that's due each calendar month. Sometimes people try to pay ahead, but you can't do that. Each month there has to be a payment made on the calendar month. Okay. Payments are due by the 28th of each month. You've got 28 days, I guess is one way to think of it, to make your payment after your statement cuts. So it's due by the 28th, not just on the 28th. So that's kind of a good
So they
thing.
all have the same due date?
They do, yeah.
You would have thought I would have caught that looking at all them accounts by now. My elevator wasn't going very far, was it? I just learned something.
You can also set up automatic payments. We can set it up so it pulls the minimum payment from your account, checking account to make your payment, or you have some people that have it set up to pull their entire balance in full, so it pays it off right away for them each month. If you do carry a balance, the finance charges post at the end of the month. Again, you can avoid those finance charges by paying it in full by the 28th. If you have a cash advance balance, and that can be any number of sources, either a cash advance or if you use it as a line of credit, overdraft protection, that goes into the cash advance category. And say, for example, you pull out $200 on the 5th of the month and you pay it off in full by the 15th. You may have a zero balance, but because the finance charges post at the end of the month, you just need to remember, okay, I'm going to have a couple bucks, 50 cents, that'll be on there as a balance at the end of the month that I need to pay off in the first. Okay, here's the fun part. No annual fees on our cards. There's no cash advance fees, no transaction fees, no over limit fees. There is a late fee involved. But one nice thing about the late fee, if you got a card with a different bank, if you look at their structure, you've got until that due date to make your payment. If you're a day late, they're going to charge you $25, $30, $35 late fee. After the 28th, we give you another 10 days before we charge you a $12.50 late fee. So we've got even some extra time in there for members to get their payments in. Cards are all in-house. We have them on our computer system, and it really makes access complete. You can do everything that you need to do right at the credit union. Payment online, transfer from your checking account with us right into your credit card. You've got access through its Me247 through online banking. You can look at everything. If you have any statement or transaction questions, you don't have to call somebody out of town. You call right into the credit union and talk with one of us. You're not mailing your payments anywhere. If you need to get an access check on the card, you just come in and we can print those out for you to access your money, perhaps for like a balance transfer. Got ahead of you.
You did.
Flexibility. One thing I really like about our cards is just the flexibility that we offer with them. One way to think of it is it's a line of credit with a card attached to it. You can use it as a line of credit. If If you need to come in and get money, it's got that flexibility. You can connect it to your checking account for overdraft protection. We have a lot of members that do that. Cash access, again, you can pull money out of the teller line. ATM machines, the only thing with ATM machines, you would have ATM fees associated with that. But again, if you do get cash, there's no inflated cash advance fees or interest rates that go along with that. Okay. Again, no cash advance fees, and the interest rate is the same as your purchase rate. So if you got a 6.25% interest rate on your credit card, it's the same for purchases or cash advances, no matter what type of transactions you've got out there.
Is that different from other credit cards? Is that pretty standard?
No, most other credit cards have, to start out with, a $10, $12, $15, $18, $20 interest rate on them, and their cash advance rate is going to be even higher than that. In addition, if you do a cash advance with them, they're going to have a fee just to do that, maybe 3 or 5% of the amount that you advance on the cash advance. One thing you have to watch out for too, no, that's all right, is other banks' teaser rates. If they have a rate, a special rate, 0%, 1%, for you to transfer your balances to them, you have to kind of keep an eye on it, because a lot of times they'll have a cutoff period. If you're going to play the game, you need to make sure you follow within their rules to make sure you get it paid off or transferred again when that teaser rate expires. A lot of times too, you'll get offers from them in the mail, some access checks to do balance transfers. Read the small print, because a lot of times, again, they'll have a fee associated with that, 3 or 4 or 5% fee just to use their access checks. Okay, now I'm caught up to you. Using your card overseas. We get questions a lot from members. I'm going overseas. Can I use your card over there? Visa, MasterCard, you can use our cards or anybody's cards anywhere worldwide where they accept Visa and MasterCard. So there's no limitations there. There is a fee associated with that, and this isn't a fee that we have, but it's a foreign currency conversion fee that Visa and MasterCard have. And so for every transaction that you make overseas, they're going to convert that to local currency, and then that fee will come through, and that will just be a second line item on your credit card statement. If you have a $9 charge, it'll be a 9-cent, will be titled a foreign conversion fee along with that. Again, it's a pass-through fee, and what's really nice is that we don't add anything to it. Most other cards, I haven't come across any that don't. Most other banks charge anywhere like a 3 or 4 or 5% international currency conversion fee. They pad that fee just to make some additional income. We just pass it through. We don't add anything to it. It just goes right down to your account. It is a better option than using your debit card if you go overseas. Kind of the main reason is if something were to happen to your card, you lose it, someone else gets a hold of it, they could wipe out your checking account. And you're out that money until you get back and file a fraud case and get that money back. A credit card, if someone gets it and they use your credit limit, you're not out any money. You get back, we file a dispute, get a replacement card. Through the dispute process, those charges will get refunded, but your checking account isn't at risk in that case. It's also a good option for getting cash. Instead of taking along dollars and exchanging them locally at the airport or somewhere else, getting cash at an ATM machine is a little bit better option, because you get better benefit of getting a better conversion fee with that. You have to be careful, if you're getting small amounts, because then the ATM fee is going to be a higher percentage of what you're getting. So you don't want to get $10, $20 out. You're going to be spending $100, $200, $300. So that's a better option to look at, to use the ATM machine. Sometimes you might be able to find a local financial institution overseas or a credit union that you can go up to the teller line and do a cash advance there. And we do that in our branches. People come in all the time with Visa or MasterCard. We do cash advances for them. We don't charge a fee to that. Some banks do, but depending what their fee is, that might be a good option too in order to get cash in local currency. Again, kind of a good way just to avoid that part of getting cash, you just use your credit card to make purchases when you're overseas. Now everybody's favorite, fraud and fraud prevention. Kind of what's going on today in fraud. What we see a lot happening is it's merchants and merchant payment processors that are seeing their computer systems hacked into. They don't quite have enough security in place. There's enough people out there that try to get away with what they can and get in and hack the systems. What we do is we get reports periodically when that happens. They say this has happened. What they do is they identify what card numbers were present in that system during the time period that they identified that the system was at risk. And what we do at that point is contact those card holders and say, hey, your card number was at risk during this time period. We need to close your account, get a new card number just to be proactive and prevent anything from possibly happening. There's been arrests, although you usually don't hear about them in the news. The most recent one was there was a series of arrests made in Great Britain. We got news of that about 3 weeks ago in one of our alerts. A couple years ago, there was a network of people arrested down in Florida that were dealing in stolen card numbers. Points of compromise, just kind of keep an eye out for your card. You know, one place we've seen compromises happen before, fraud, is on cruises. Depending who you give it to, you never know who's working on a cruise that might have the opportunity to get your number and get that information. Also watch out for phone calls, saying that, oh, your card has been compromised, please enter your number so you can verify your information. Never reply to any of those. A bank or credit union will never ever contact you and ask you for your card information. Also watch out for emails kind of with the same message. Contact us, you're in danger, your card is at risk. Give us your card number. Another annoying thing too is this last summer we got a lot of these were calls saying you might be eligible for a lower interest rate on your card. Those again are all fraud attempts to get information on your card. When there's an additional layer of security also called Verified by Visa. And this is a program strictly of Visa. What you do, you register your card with them with a password. And periodically you'll run across a merchant, an internet merchant, that will ask for your Verified by Visa security number. And there's a security code, you need to enter that in there. Again, it's just another way that they can verify that you are you. And the way you get there, followed by Verified by Visa link on our website. Go to the next page there. I actually got it together. Yeah. www.siouxempirefcu.org, and scroll down on the left side in the bar there, and you'll see the link to Verified by Visa. So you just follow that, and it goes to the Visa site and enter in the information to get set up with a password.
Is that for some?
What's that?
What is that for?
It's another layer of security.
Okay.
When you make a purchase with a merchant, they've got the ability to submit that password also through for approval.
Okay.
We've had some members before that have called in and said, hey, I can't get my purchase to go through, what's my password? And
Okay.
we refer them then to the Verified by Visa site to get that set up so they can get approved. Another tool that we've got in our tool belt to fight fraud is the Falcon department. And this is a division of our credit card processor. And it's a service that they provide to us. And what they do, normal operations, they look at all the things that happen with cards, all the fraud. And they try to understand, what's the pattern? What's happening, what merchants are being used, what times of day, what countries, what states out of your area. And what they do is then they look for patterns of our members to try to look for a transaction that fit those patterns. And what they do then is if they find one that fits that, they try to contact the card holder directly. They put a warm block on the card and try to reach them just to see if that was in fact that person doing the transaction. You know, if they can't reach them, then what they do is they contact the credit union, and we make that attempt to try to get a hold of the card holder. That's where it's very important that we have current phone information for all of our card holders, for our members. It's happened before where we haven't had a current number and the member's actually been traveling, and that particular transaction while they're traveling has raised the red flag, they blocked the card, and now the member's got a blocked card while they're traveling. So we try to do what we can just to make sure we've got current phone numbers. We also ask members that if they are going to be traveling to let us know, because we can go into the credit card system that they use and indicate the dates and where you're going to be traveling, so that they'll know that if they do spot something that kind of raises a red flag, they know it's probably going to be the card holder.
Do you do that, or does the other, like, who monitors our cards for charges?
The Falcon department.
They,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Then we've got an email system. If they find one they need further review, an email comes in, and I'm the primary one that looks at it. If I'm gone, then Tiffany and Beth take a look at it, try to make contact.
So if I have a card and I'm gonna go traveling, I should let somebody know I'm going traveling?
Yep, let me know.
Okay.
Yep.
It's really an amazing thing to be able to identify those patterns. They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty good at determining if that's you who's using that money or not.
We've had instances that they've caught before where there's been 3 or 4 attempted authorizations within like a minute and a half. And the first one raised the red flag, they put a block in the card, and we can look in the history and see there was 3 or 4 more attempts made within the next minute where they're trying to make purchases with the card. So it's really made a big difference. Those members that we talked to are just really thankful that, you know, we're watching out. Even if the charge was theirs, yeah, some people do make charges at 2:30 in the morning, but still they're thankful that we're watching out and trying to identify those if they are fraud.
Is this a Visa or a MasterCard thing, or is this a Sioux Empire?
Sioux Empire, yep. Yeah. So they look for all our cards, both Visa and MasterCard in the system.
Yeah. Our granddaughter, they wiped out her checking account by someone getting in there, and they went to the gas station and spent $400 and wiped out her account, so they had to, when she come to use it again, over there, enough money in it. And I don't know if it was through the crowd. They used to bank here, credit.
I'm sure she does, yeah.
But anyway, someone got into her account.
They called our daughter.
They called her and they said, I'll pay you. And then so they went to there and got straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
Never asked them if they got it cleared off, but they went to the station and had bought gas. And
Oh, that same evening, 4 different times.
Yeah, it's frustrating when that happens, and even more so when it happens to you that they do
and
that.
another thing is, there is some stations that your card don't work at the pump. So they want you to go in and leave the card, and then you go out and fill, and then you go back in. Well, that's a strictly a no-no in my
Mm,
books.
yep.
When I have there, I send her in there to watch the card.
That's a good idea.
Hold my card for,
You know what I say, you know, who knows what they're gonna do. They say they do that in restaurants too. So when they take it up there and they have to pay their bill, but they can, that's why now they're going to this, not to raise numbers on there, because they can just wipe their hand like that over and they got the number.
Mhm. Yep, that's a very, you're putting your trust in the person, your waiter that's going back.
And like I said, when they hold the card, see, all you gotta do is rub it over and you get your number.
Yep.
They can't, I guess they can't do that with the newer ones.
Yeah, when they're flat and there's no raised numbers, it makes it a lot harder.
That's probably why they went to that.
When it comes to using credit cards, you know, there's responsibility involved, just like in anything else in life. You know, from abusing the card, you know, as an unlimited line of credit that you put off paying until who knows when, to monitoring your statement for fraudulent transactions and being careful, you know, how you use your card on the internet. Many people are very wary of using them on the internet, and they're resistant to make purchases, when in fact it's much safer to use your credit card information on a secure online order form than it is to give your card to a waiter at a restaurant. I kind of like to use a driving the car analogy. How many of you guys walked here tonight? Anybody? Everybody drive a car? How many have ever been in a fender bender before?
Yeah, that too.
Did that prevent you from driving tonight? Still use your car? We know that every time we get in a car, there's a chance something's going to happen. We kind of do what we can to be diligent, and we drive safely. We obey the traffic laws. We watch out for the yahoos around us that may not be thinking about anything else around them. But sometimes things happen. Sometimes we back up at the same time as someone else in the parking lot, the mall, or the grocery store. But things happen, and that's kind of why we carry car insurance, just to cover us should something happen. Credit cards are kind of the same way. As long as we make sure that we're looking at making sure that the website is secure, and we're doing what we can to be diligent to make sure nothing happens. If something does happen, then we've got the credit card version of car insurance by doing the fraud dispute with a charge. So what do you do to keep track of your account? Number one, you need to keep an eye on your transactions and look over your statement each month when it comes. A great way to keep an eye on it more frequently is through It's Me 247. Some members log on daily, some log on multiple times a day just to look at their transactions. And one nice thing is that you're able to see pending authorizations, things that have been charged. We've given the merchant an authorization okay for it, but they haven't completely batched their computer system yet to push it through to be collected. And if you find a pending authorization that is fraudulent, there's nothing we can do to stop it because we've already given permission to charge it. This course of action is to wait until it posts to your account, and then at that point we can file a fraud case. One thing that we've had some success doing before is actually calling the merchant when we've seen a fraudulent authorization and say, hey, this isn't the card holder. In some cases they've been willing to cancel the transaction, intercept the merchandise hasn't been mailed out yet. It kind of comes down to the merchant though. We've had responses from some merchants that said, go ahead, file a fraud case, do what you need to do that way. It kind of gives me a good feeling when we know we intercept something and don't get the merchandise mailed out if it is fraudulent. Balance your statement like your checking account. Everybody balances your checking account every month, right?
Right.
All right? Everybody should be shaking their head. It's very critical because you have 60 days from your statement to file any disputes, any fraudulent transactions. And also sign your card. A good idea is to sign it with a Sharpie if you have one available. A lot of times, sign it with a pen, it'll rub off after a period of time. And I've heard some people say they always write on the back, ask for ID. Whether it's good or bad, I guess it's kind of your own choice. A lot of places don't even look at the back or even ask for ID anymore.
I did that once and that person was not happy. So now every time somebody gives me their credit card, that's the first thing I do is I look at the back.
And that's what they told us, that don't sign it, because that's a worst thing,
Yep.
is to have a VI, but, what is it, CIP? or whatever.
CID.
CID. Put that on the back of your card.
Yep.
Sometimes, like you said, they don't always check it. Sometimes, well, let's see your card, you got a CID on the back. So
We appreciate that.
Yep.
that's what they told us. Some other place don't, that signing of it, that's just a giveaway.
If someone gets it, they can practice your signature and go out and. Okay, go ahead, next page. And again, when you're making purchases online, make sure the website is secure. And the indication for this is the padlock icon. Don't enter any information for a purchase unless you do see that. That indicates that the website is secure. When I was doing some research, for this, I came across kind consumer website called Internet Scam Busters, and they had a list they called 21 credit card fraud prevention tips. I guess what I'd like to do is just kind of go through those as a wrap up tonight. Some of the items are the same things we've kind of discussed earlier, but kind of the basic message is, always use common sense. Number one, keep an eye on your credit card every time you use it. Make sure you get it back as quickly as possible. Try not to let your credit card out of your sight whenever it's possible. And again, sometimes that's not possible just because, for example, at a restaurant, but just be aware of that. Be very careful to whom you give your credit card. Don't give out your account number over the phone unless you initiate the call and you know the company is reputable. Never give your credit card information out when you receive a phone call. For example, if you're told there's been a computer problem, the caller needs you to verify information. Legitimate companies don't call you to ask for your credit card number. Never respond to emails that request you provide your credit card info. And don't ever respond to emails that ask you to go to a website to verify personal and credit card information. These are called phishing scams. Some will direct you to a website that appears to be legitimate, but again, it's just an attempt to get you to enter your information at a copycat site. Never provide your credit card information on a website that is not a secure site. Remember to look for the padlock. Sign your credit cards as soon as you receive them. Shred all credit card applications you receive. If you haven't done so already, register on the National Do Not Contact website to prevent credit card companies from sending out credit card solicitations. Don't write your PIN number in the back of the card. Like I said, a lot of these are just common sense. Or don't have it anywhere near your card, in the event that your card does get stolen. Never leave your credit cards or receipts lying around. Shred your credit card number so others around you can't copy it or capture it in a cell phone or camera. Keep a list in a secure place with all your account numbers and expiration dates, as well as the phone numbers and address of each bank that has issued your credit card. And keep it updated too whenever you receive a new credit card. Only carry around the cards that you're going to need. Don't carry around any extra ones. Open your credit card bills promptly and make sure there are no bogus charges. Treat your credit card bill like your checking account. Reconcile it monthly. Save your receipts so you can compare them with your monthly bills. Again, this just goes back to be diligent and responsible for your account. You are the first line of defense for any fraud on your account. Again, if you find any charges that don't have a receipt or that you don't recognize, report these charges promptly and then write them to the credit card issuer. One thing with that too, if you don't recognize a merchant, be aware that sometimes the merchant parent company is a different name from what the storefront is. And, for example, gas stations. We've had that before. People have called and said, I don't know what this company is called, and I look up on the internet and find out the address for it, and it's a gas station. I said, did you buy gas here the other day? And they go, oh yeah, that's what it is. Always void and destroy incorrect receipts. Don't leave anything out that someone else might be able to pick up and get your number. Shred anything with your credit card number on it. And don't just put it in the trash. Shred it. Never sign a blank credit card receipt. Carefully draw a line through blank portions of the receipt where additional charges could be fraudulently added. And that's kind of one thing to watch too, is when you go to a restaurant and you fill in the amount of the tip. People before and the restaurants have altered that amount to increase it, or if someone didn't leave a tip, they've added it in. Just kind of be wary of that, and that's where it's a good idea to keep your receipts so you know exactly how much that you did add on for a tip. Carbon paper is rarely used these days, except with the credit union. We have 3 of the branches have the knuckle busters where we still use the carbons for cash advances. If there is a carbon that is used in a credit transaction, destroy it immediately. Go ask for it, or if you can see that they are tearing it up, go do that. But just be diligent. If your safety comes first, if you want to take that with you, by all means do so. Never write your credit card number in a public place. Never fill it in on the back of a postcard or something that anybody can see, or where it might be seen through an envelope. Ideally, it's a good idea to carry your credit cards separately from your wallet. It may not always be possible, but just kind of keep that in mind. Never lend a credit card to anyone else. Keep that in your possession. And if you move, notify the credit card issuers in advance of your change of address. give us a call if you're going to move, so we can get everything updated and make sure all your mail does get directly to you. Last thing we want to happen is if you move and then the next person that moves in get your mail, you don't want that to happen. The next thing you know, they've got your credit card. Any questions?
I did get a phone call a couple weeks ago, that my credit card has expired, but we send you a new one. And they want information, I just hung up on it.
Good thing to do.
What wasn't expired? You had,
No, but that's what,
They were probably,
I knew it wasn't legal.
yep,
still
yep.
there.
They were hoping you had a card that you
Oh, the
would,
credit card we got is still
But I
here.
know, but I said that's what they called.
Well, if
That
somebody
was a
else did
scam.
that,
That was a
Yep.
scam.
yep.
somebody else was calling.
I never told you about it because I just went company and just hung up.
Yes.
Who determines the credit limit? Is that in-house as well, or is that run through Visa or MasterCard?
Nope, that's in-house.
Okay.
Yep. Each loan officer looks at the application, determines what credit limit we're willing to do. Question two on Visa and MasterCard. They don't have anything to do with the credit cards other than issuing a franchise or a license to us to issue them. They're just the name, and they do their own marketing to promote their card. Each bank, credit union chooses if they're going to issue a Visa or MasterCard, and they have sole control over credit limits, fraud issues, those things. Visa has in place the guidelines for fraud cases. Didn't touch on that. For a fraud case, when you file one, it can take anywhere from 3 months to 4 or 5 or 6 months for it to complete. They've got in place guidelines, limits for each step of the process through the fraud case. You've got 60 days to report it. They then, once you file a fraud case, they request copies of the transactions. They send then a request notification to the merchant that, hey, this is fraud. How do you respond? The merchant then has a certain number of days to respond back. So that's where Visa's involved with those guidelines.
Do you do other fraud ones here? Or do they go get done at the other place?
They all go through FIS. I kind of monitor them, help make sure people get the paperwork in. We can do chargebacks, and I work on crediting the charges back to the account.
So is the credit card with the credit union set up like the other ones where you're responsible for the first $50? Or is the one with the credit union different?
You're actually not responsible for anything as long as you report it.
Okay.
Right. If it's a year, you're not.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And you handle the disputes the same way?
Yep.
So what would somebody need to apply for a credit card? What would they take a look at to determine like what their credit limit would be and their rate would be?
The process is you come in or fill out an online application, and a loan officer takes a look at it and makes sure everything is entered. They look at your income, your credit score, look at your debt to income, and then kind of make a decision from there what appropriate line amount that the credit union would be willing to issue to you.
So do you have to make an appointment, or do you, like if you apply online, you've never had a credit card before, and so if you apply online, do they contact you and set up an appointment, or how does that?
Yeah, they'll get a hold of you, and then maybe over the phone just verify information, make sure sometimes not all the information carries through the application, so they'll call us to make sure everything is there, and then they'll get a hold of you later to let you know, give you an answer then.
Okay.
And they're pretty quick about that too. They monitor them, within 24 hours, you're probably going to get a call.
Yep.
If you're opening a Sioux Empire card to do like a balance transfer from assessor, the loan officer, or you, who sends out, a check to like your Discover card to pay them off to move the balance to your card here? Is that the member's responsibility, or does the loan processor help with that?
Kind of both ways. A lot of times the member will go ahead and do that. And that's where the flexibility comes in. We can cut a check off their credit card send a cashier's check out, put the money in your checking account. You can write a check to send to them. We can print out an access check, so you can write that out and send it to the credit card company that paid off. So a couple different ways that we can work with it.
She mentioned Discover, there's a lot of places that won't take it. On Discover card. They got Visa and Master and like you said, that American Express or whatever,
Yep.
but no Discover.
Yeah, they're not quite as widespread as Visa and MasterCard.
Because they charge too much, I understand, for the transaction.
Hmm.
That's what I've been told. They want 5% charge on it.
Oh, okay.
So companies ain't gonna stand for that. They're the ones that got.
Discover was kind of a play changer, if you will. When they came out with a Discover card, they came out as a no-fee card. And up until that time, there was a lot of fee cards that Visa and MasterCard had. So kind of the rest of the market, Visa and MasterCard had to respond to that and started switching to more.
They have to deal with it, pay you back, and percentage you get back on Discover.
Mhm.
I don't know what percentage would be low, but I mean,
Mhm.
if you buy, say, $500, you get some back credit on it or something.
Yep. Anybody else?
Another credit union, other than here, we went up to cash a check and they they wanted to charge me for cashing.
Hmm.
And because I wasn't a member there at that credit union.
Sure, yep. Yeah, you do need to be a member, even with us, in order to cash a check. You need to be a member of the credit union in order to do that.
Unless the check is written off of Sioux Empire, then you
Yeah.
can cash it and there's no
Correct,
fee.
yeah.
See, this one has probably a Christmas gift or something, I went up to cash it, and there's only one, and I thought, well, that credit union, they'll cash that check, or they would have, but they wouldn't charge me, and I said, I ain't paying for it.
Mhm. All right, well, thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.